What's up? What's up? What's up? We have a little remix this week. So those of you who know, we did not record last week. Tyra's son had surgery, in which we spoke about prior in our prior episodes. So we didn't record last week, but we couldn't go 2 weeks without recording. And she was supposed to be here, but she had a doctor's appointment and it was in the city, so she ran late. So we did a remix, but this remix isn't really a remix because he was like the original of the podcast. So it is with my greatest pleasure to introduce the love of my life, the diamond, the baby, my boy, Giovanni, Gio, Jojo, whatever you want to call him.
Everyone. First, I just want to say, Auntie, I am not taking your spot. I'm going to try to live up to your standards. Yeah, Auntie, this one's for you. Yeah.
So, I asked what our subject, no, our topic. Yeah, I be messing that shit up. Our topic is, so I'm going to ask Jojo a question because he told me he's the host because he's sitting in my seat and I'm sitting in Tyra's seat. So I'm Tyra vibes right now. So we're going to ask Jojo what it feels to work with his mom, to podcast with his mom, to have his mom in various parts of his life. What's it feel like, Johnny? What's it feel like to be surrounded by all women? Because if you guys don't know, Jojo is surrounded by women. Me, his sister, his grandmother.
Feels good. You know, I got to keep them in check. And,
He is probably the most sane one of the three of us.
I got to teach them things and, you know, all that type of stuff. Yeah, I just got to control the show, run it, you know. Make sure everybody's doing their part.
Those who watch our Instagram, who follow us on Instagram, definitely see the videos between me and him. And you definitely know the dynamic between me and him. He forever talking shit about me, to me, about me. It's all in fun, but he always coming for me, always. So our latest one is when he first started making pizza. First of all, Giovanni has been working at the pizzeria since he's 12. Well, I mean, really since birth, but let's take it back. From 12 years old,
I started getting paid.
Yeah, he started getting paid when he was 12. He started as his sister's busboy. He hated that position. And then he went to a counter, and then he went to a driver. Driver is his favorite position, right?
Yeah, you talk the least. I get to be alone the most. You know, you get to be in the car. I got my music.
He likes his space.
Any peace. Conversation with somebody is like minimal. It's just like how's everything? This is the total. Have a good one. You know,
short and sweet. He keeps it short and sweet. So Giovanni graduated in 2020 when the world was falling apart and COVID was going on and whatever. So he decided in December of 2020, once he graduated, he was still working at the pizzeria, he was driving, that he was going to start making pizzas. So he started in 2021 working full-time as a pizza man. And like 6 months later, he decided to have a contest with me of making pizzas. First of all,
but emphasis, 6 months. You've been there since when?
96.
Okay, now you can finish.
So we did this competition, right? And let me first say, I was used to making pizzas on a paddle. But once he started, we went back to making pizzas on a screen. Okay, so I hadn't made pizzas really on a screen in a while. So we did this contest, but we used the screen. So I think he went first, right? I went first? Okay, I went first. I made the pizza, but I didn't make it that it went to the complete edge of the screen. So he's like, oh, it's not even at the complete edge. So he made me nervous, right? So I make the pizza, whatever. I think it was like 58 seconds. He comes and he did it in like 56 seconds. So, you know, I never live that down, right? So 56 seconds.
Well, that's
he
why
beat
she
me.
didn't want to use the screen, because then there's proof if you cheat.
There
know what I
is
mean?
no proof because it's one size. But anyway.
Exactly. The screen, you has to be the size of the screen. On the paddle, no one will never know if it's bigger or smaller.
So about a week ago, we're doing pizzas for schools. So now we have 2 other people there who also make pizzas. So we said, maybe we need to all have a competition, like all of us. So he tried putting me in 3rd place, saying that it'd be him, Javis, who's currently making pizzas, who he taught how to make pizzas.
That's why he's second. 'Cause
Me?
he came from me.
Then Derek. Derek, I taught how to make pizzas. And that's why he says he makes pizzas the way he does. But anyway, that's a whole nother story. So that's what I think our next competition is going to be. But I'm going to win this.
You gotta think it's science, right?
Science.
If I won after only 6 months and I beat someone with there for years and years, what's gonna happen now that I've been there a few more years? You get me?
I'm very fast. Don't let him fool you.
And I'm just a little faster inside.
I am very fast.
It's okay.
But he said I got it in every other department.
Yeah, the counter, I hate the counters.
Salads, sandwiches.
I hate doing all that.
Therefore, I won that one. But, that's neither here nor there. So anyway. So, yeah, that's our next competition. So, look out for that one. I don't know if you guys do know. I think I've spoken about this before. JoJo, my daughter, does a podcast. It's called Unprovoked Podcast. Make sure you guys check it out. Her and her 2 friends. JoJo's the one who films them. But he also talks in the podcast. But he only talks. Do you guys remember Charlie's Angels? I know we're old. I'm old. But you only used to hear his voice on the phone. Well, he's that. No one sees his face. They only hear his voice. And they think he's like this 6'5" guy with this deep voice. He's not.
Nah.
He's still perfect, but he's the voice. I said, wow, I'm so privileged. I get the voice and the body. So think about it, guys.
Right.
You guys are privileged that we have both today.
I used to do a podcast
With his friends?
but I haven't been on camera in like a year. Probably over a year, maybe. No, maybe less than a year. Like last summer.
This podcast was good. It was funny.
And my sisters, I'm the voice.
He's the voice.
Because I was never really supposed to be on it. I was supposed to just record it. But then they would always ask for my input on things.
Because it's 3 females. So they would always ask for his male input.
But when I would talk, since I'm behind the camera, you wouldn't hear me because I wasn't in the mic. So then they forced me to get on the mic. So now you just hear a voice.
He's the voice.
Yeah.
So make sure you guys check that out also. So yeah. So we haven't recorded in like 2 weeks. Those who know, Tyra's son had surgery. So Tyra's been busy with that. And I've just been dealing with work, dealing with certain situations going on in regards to cars and business and everything else. So life has been a little hectic at times, I guess, but it's life, and we'll get through this too. So we decided that we were definitely going to record today. So that's why we brought on Giovanni. So I said, do you want to ask me any questions? He said, no. So is there anything that you would like to ask me?
No, I'm not good at asking
Not
questions.
good at asking questions.
I'm good at knowing the topic, and then I can freestyle from there.
So what do you think of? All right. So how about
That's why I think I'm not good at small talk with people. Because I don't really know. Now that I don't know what to say, I don't really.
He's a man of very little words.
I like to talk about what I care about.
So what is it that you care about? What do you feel? How do you feel about dynamics between like kids and their parents?
Explain.
So like we have a mother and son dynamic, right? What do you think of that type of dynamic? Like how important do you feel that is in how you became who you are today? Do you think like our dynamic,
relationships are everything,
or do you think like your environment like outside of our dynamic, is what influenced you most?
Most, I would say, I'm not sure. I think most is just, it's like, I would say God in a way.
Okay.
Because I feel like he makes people certain ways. And then as you go through stuff, as you meet people, you like little things change. But I feel like I've always just stayed true to what felt right within my own self.
Yeah, that I'll give him. He has really been this way since he's a baby. Like, he's very set in his ways. He likes what he likes. He doesn't like what he doesn't like. He's not really swayed. He's not ever been anyone who's followed the crowd or followed what everybody else was doing, which as a mom, I'll tell you, I'm grateful for that, because that was probably my biggest fear in raising him was, well, from 12 years old, I've raised him by myself or with my mother. But my biggest fear was like, am I going to be able to raise him as a man, B, to make sure I do not, okay. Like, if he were to get swayed, like, how am I handling that? Like, how am I handling that? What am I doing with that? How am I, gonna take care of that? So I think I'm grateful that he really was never one who was swayed. He's really one that sticks to how he's always been. He really hasn't changed much. He's very consistent in how he is. So I'm grateful with that. But I definitely think like we have our own dynamic. The same way I have a different dynamic with my daughter. Like, everyone knows, he's like my baby. He's just my baby. He's my baby. He's my youngest. He's just my baby. I don't know. He could be 22 now. He could be 50. He's still going to be my baby. But I think I have a different dynamic with him. And I think I raised him a little bit different than I did with my daughter. I had a different dynamic with her because I was younger with her. And I don't know. But
I think the answer to that question is, I think it depends on people. Because there's certain people that they get too caught up in their environment and like what's going on around them consumes them.
mm-hmm.
But I think it's based off the person, because personally, I've been around certain things, and if I didn't want to do it, I didn't want to do it. I could still be around it, and I could still like be around people who like whatever, but if it didn't feel right within me, I would just never do it. But there's some people that if they're around it, they're going to be a part of it.
Which is definitely something, like I said, as a mom, I'm grateful for, because life had given me other situations that I had to deal with, and I didn't know how I was dealing it with certain situations if it came to my kids. So I'm definitely grateful on that. But he's definitely not like your normal 22-year-old. He's got his head pretty much on straight. Do I think he's transitioning from, not that he was a kid, because he's been very mature almost his whole life, but I think this last year I've seen different transitions in him, and I think he's trying to kind of like find what's right for him, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Like I could see, and as a mom, like I said, I can see that, and I just trust. The thing is, I have to approach both as a mother. So when you're a parent, you can have 5 kids, all they both have the same father, same mother. You got 5 kids, all from the same 2 parents. They're all 5 different. So I have 2, and they're both very different. I have to approach them both very differently. My daughter, if I don't hear from her in a day, if I don't get a text message from her in a day, I know something's up. So like by the next day, I'll be like, what's going on? And 2 days, I know for sure she's going through something, because she's just very like, well, text me or whatever. Call me, text me, whatever. Giovanni is a little different. First, I work with him, but I don't even work with him that many days anymore. But there's like a whole weekend if I don't text him, I won't hear from him. But I don't question it because I know that's how he is. Like, I know that's who he is. That's how he is. He gets wrapped up in his own world. I'm kind of the same when it comes to my mom. But so I know I have to approach them both very differently. And I also know he's not the type of person that I can be like, are you okay? Are you okay? Talk to me. Talk. Like, it doesn't work. I've tried that. I'd be like, well, you don't look okay. What's the matter? What's the matter? What's the matter? And he hates that. So I have learned as a parent, as he's gotten, like, I have to sit back because I know if he needs me, he will come and talk to me. I know when he's going through something, eventually he will reach out to me. He'll ask me opinion. He'll ask me something. I know that. But with him, I have to wait for it. With the other one, I have to be like, what's going on? What's up? What happened? And she'll tell me. So like I said, with being a parent, and I'm only a parent to 2 kids, but I know at this point, like, how I have to approach them both differently. And, clearly I'm a parent. I've made mistakes. I'm a human being. But I try to have some type of relationship with them, but I also try and give them their, like, space, their place to grow and be. So I try not to be on top of them because I think for myself, like, I don't like when people are like that with me. I try and do the same for them. But
I think we all have a pretty good dynamic though.
Yeah. Like, I like that he's close with his sister. He's very close with his sister. I like that. And I always stress to them, like, do not let anyone ever get in between you and your sister's relationship. I tell her the same thing because at the end of the day, you two are all that you have.
If you knew where me and my sister came from, it's crazy. Cause she hated me. Like, capital H.
Like,
she used to cry on my birthdays,
like,
type of hate me.
Yeah, like, to the point I had him, and she was, when she found out I was pregnant with him, she said, well, nobody asked me. I was fine the way that I was. Like, she really, I think he had to be around 4. And she was still complaining that he was around. Like, she used to cry for his birthdays. We had a Nemo birthday for him. And she was so mad that we had this Nemo birthday for him. She cried the whole birthday. She didn't want him to have this Nemo birthday. I don't know what it was with Nemo, but she did not want him to have this Nemo birthday. So, like, I think he was probably like 4. And I'm like, listen, he's not going anywhere. You're going to have to get used to that he's here.
She tried to kill me before.
Yeah,
she let me drown.
It's like... No, she didn't try to, but
she did let me drown though. But like,
she was like, "Mom,
she didn't do it.
JoJo's playing dead." I said, "What do you mean playing dead?" He literally was almost drowned.
Already.
Yeah, he was purple. Whew, that was a summer.
Seconds.
But yeah, but the dynamic coming from where they came from, like, now they have a super close relationship. Like, she will like, the one thing about the older one. She got a couple screws loose, but you can't touch me, her brother, or her grandmother, period. Like, there is no question. She will do jail time. She doesn't care when it comes to me, her brother, or her grandmother. And she is obsessed. Like, he's her weakness. The way he's my weakness, he's her weakness. And it's like, you could say something about him, the drop of the dime, she'll start crying. So they've definitely come a long way in that sense, but they are very close, and I love that. And I always, like, try to tell them, like, that is all you guys have, because once I'm gone, you two are all you have. And I think that when I lost my brother, that kind of, like, embedded in me, because we grew up really super close, and then as time, as life started lifing, we kind of not separated, but we weren't as close as we were. And that is, like, what they say, like, respect people when they're alive, or not respect, because we both respected each other, but, like, love people when they're here. That is definitely something that I can say is something that sits with me. So that is really important for me, like, that they are close. I don't care who comes in your life. I don't care what comes into your life, but you and your sister should always be each other's people, because there's no bond like your siblings, like, none. And it's like until you don't have that, you don't realize how important it is. But like your siblings are all like that is I try and like instill that in both of them. Like I never want to see them arguing. Like you can argue, but like figure it out. That is one thing I think that I press with them. Also, like we have where our family dynamic is a little crazy, but we all are very like we are
I
all
think
very
it's
there.
perfect though.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
I think we're a little nuts, but
Cause like I've told you one day, like I think, like I feel like everything in life is perfectly made for you. You know what I mean? So all of our relationships, everything we've been through, everything that we will go through, all the good, all the bad, like it's written for us. You get me? So I think it's perfect because it's the perfect. It's what it should be. It's what it was designed to be. You know?
you think that it was designed to be like that for us to learn whatever lessons we needed to learn in this life?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Or sometimes it's not even a lesson, but sometimes it's just
To be who
for
you
a
are.
certain outcome to happen.
Yeah, that could be. I mean,
I feel like that's how I live, and I don't know if it's like what's that like stupid stuff people say. I'm not gonna say stupid. I'll take that. but like a coping
mechanism.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if I say that just to make things make sense in my head,
Mm-hmm.
but I truly feel like that, and it truly brings me
Peace.
like peace at the end of the day, knowing that whatever was supposed to happen happened, whatever shouldn't have happened didn't happen, and like everything is always exactly what it should be and where it is.
I believe that, but it's I don't know. Like sometimes you just question. Like I think it was me and Tyra. We were talking about this the other day. No, it was not me and Tyra. It was actually me and Alyssa, one of the girls who work for me, and we were talking about like God and faith and this and that. And I said, my faith has been tested many times, and I'm not gonna lie. I have questioned why. I have questioned God. I have questioned a lot of things. But then I had to like break it down. And okay, so this is why we started talking about this. So I was on TikTok. I'm always on TikTok. But I was on TikTok and they were interviewing a girl. I don't know if she's a famous girl. I don't know. So I can't give any names cuz I was just watching the video. But I think her brother and her mother passed away. She was a young girl. And they were saying, what would you do to bring your mother back? Like, what would you give to have your mom back or whatever? Something along the lines of that question. And she answered it in a way that had me like stunned, touched, and like kind of speechless at the same time. She said, as much as I miss my mother and I love my mother and I would do anything and everything so that my mother, like I would give anything at one point to have my mother here with me. She said, I wouldn't change anything because that means I would have changed God's plan. And I don't know what God's plan is. So I have to trust that
true.
Not having my mother here was God's plan. And I said, that takes an insane amount of strength and faith to say that and truly, truly believe that, because think about it. Like I've experienced loss in my life. I've lost my father. I've lost my brother. I've lost their father. So I have experienced loss. I understand what loss means. I've lost the three major men in my life who have contributed completely into who I am now. My father created me. My brother was my father / brother for 45 years of my life. Their father was my first love, who I had kids with, who I married, who I went through so many life situations. And all three of them no longer are in my life, have all passed away. So that was three major. But your mother is your mother. Your mother gives you life. Your mother nurtures you. Your mother knows who you are because she literally created you. And we can say whatever we want. Yes, father is father, but your mother is your mother is your mother. No one will love you like your mother. And to say that she wouldn't do anything because that would change God's plan, that took an insane amount of strength and faith. And I thought about that and I said, you know what? She's right. Like, who I was before my brother passed away, I don't even know that person. That person, that version of me, part of it is dead. Like, I really don't even know who that person is. Do I still have some qualities of it? Because does my mind sometimes still go back to that? Yeah. But I don't even know who that version of me is anymore. So it took that to happen for me to become a different version of me. So that's
I agree with that, because it's like if I wrote a book and then I gave it to you, while you're reading it, no matter how much, if you didn't like it or not, you can't change it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because I wrote it already. You can't change it. You can't do nothing. You complaining about it won't change it. You getting mad about it won't change it. And I looked like that's how life is. Like, someone, like, God already wrote it. So, like, who am I to try to change what's written? Or, like, who am I to complain about what was written? Like, it was set up already.
But do you believe, like, our whole life path is written?
Yeah.
Or just your birth and your death?
No, I think everything is written.
See, I don't...
Because it's like how, remember we was talking about, shout out Radell, but, my best friend,
child.
he was born in a whole different country. Two of my closest friends was born in different countries.
Mm-hmm.
They was born in the same country, but two complete different cities. They knew nothing about each other. We all ended up in the same school, being friends with each other. You get me? Like,
all three completely
like
different.
the odds of that, like,
like completely
like
different.
how are them two born in the same country, never knowing each other, move to a whole different country, and end up becoming best friends? You get me? Like, I feel like stuff like that is written. Like, it was supposed to be that. You get me?
I mean, yeah. I don't know. Like, I believe that.
And I think it's like that conversation we had when we were talking about the whole, like, you know how people say, like, your death day is written,
Mm-hmm.
but what if you die doing something out of free
Mm-hmm.
will?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it was written. It's just...
how you die or how it happens is your free will.
But I feel like even that was written. You get me?
Mm.
Because you got to understand, God also knows the choices you are going to make in life.
See, I feel like there's different chapters, right? Like, here's the book, right? This is the book here. Giovanni Iacovo was born on February 12th, whatever.
Oh my God, bleep that.
Okay.
My whole
government. Okay, so he was born on this day, right? And then this is the day that his life no longer will move forward. But I think there's different chapters in that book. And you might not read one chapter. You might skip to the next chapter. But those your choices, and that's your free will. And I think that might change the course of your life.
I think you might have, like, you have free will, but I feel like he already knows the choices you're going to make. You get me? When you make them.
See, I think he gives us all these choices for whatever lessons that we signed up for that we want to learn. And those are the choices that we take. But I don't feel that it's like, that's it. Like, you're going to do this, and that. I think it's based off of, here's the choices. And then whatever choice you make, then that's where the path your life is going to go. Because we all make choices.
That's the thing. In the end, though.
So, like, God
like,
made choices for
die.
people to, like, kill other people. Those are free will choices that you're making.
But, like, to me, in the end, when you die, right? All those choices led you to that point. You get me?
Yeah.
So some of it has to be him making those decisions.
I don't know.
Because it still led you to the same exact place.
But I think those two dates are predetermined. Because look at September 11th. Look how many people didn't go to work that day for whatever reason. Who woke up sick? Who was late for work? Who their kid was sick? Major different reasons, which just led it to believe like you weren't supposed to die that day. That's not how you were dying. That's not your that was not your final destination. But they made a choice that morning. Like you made a choice, you woke up late, like that happened, or your kid was sick, so you made a choice to not go to work. Like you made certain choices, but at the end of the day, like the final, I think that the two dates are determined, but the in between are based off of choices that we make. So we can make choices that are good ones, we can make choices that are poor ones, and we then have to figure out like the outcomes of that. Like, because I don't think God signs up for people to be addicts.
Do you believe you're supposed to learn? Do you believe every lesson you're supposed to learn in life, like, is predetermined? It's just how you learn it is up to you.
I think because we're just a soul, technically. We're just a body. We're here living a physical experience in a physical world. But our soul is everlasting. Our soul doesn't die. Our soul is eternal. So I think when we come into this world, it's like we pick, like our soul inhibits our body, but that soul is the soul that picks these lessons, that picks what lessons you want to learn here on earth. And it embodies it in a physical body.
You want to hear something crazy that I know like souls and stuff are real? And shout out to my sister because she always says I just have random facts. And this is
she says Giovanni's a Snapple fact.
This is one of them. But you know when you die, you like, as soon as you die, like as soon as your heart stops, you automatically weigh like a few grams left.
Really?
Like something just leaves your body, like, but it's small. It's like only a few grams.
Mm-hmm. It's your soul. Crazy. Like, so I believe you're created, right? Like, whatever, you're created. And then in, like, your soul picks, like, the lessons that they want to learn in the physical. And that's how your parents are determined and every other thing. But I think it's your soul picks these lessons when they're coming into this physical reality of this world. And those are the lessons that you're going to learn. But although those are the lessons, we have free will to choose how we're going to learn those lessons. We can learn them the first time, or we can take many times to learn them. But I think that I believe that to be true. Like we pick the physical, like we pick the soul picks the physical of the reality of who, like you picked me and Daddy to have whatever life experiences you chose to have on this earth.
I'm not sure.
That's how I believe it to be.
Like I don't know. Things like that, I feel like I'm not the one with the answers. So
I don't think I'm the. Those
I
are
try
just
not to. No, like
thoughts.
None of us have the answers.
Yeah, I don't think any of us have the answers. We could just think. I just definitely think we're spirit. We are spirit. We are souls. We are energetically all connected to each other. We're all, children of God. Why? Because we are all energy like factors from God, which is our soul. Your soul is eternal. It doesn't die. So it has to be real, right? It has to be energy that's leaving your body, because this is just a shell of what we are. But I think like we just pick certain experiences in life. Like I don't know why I picked some of the experiences I did. I must have been tired or not in my right mind to pick some of the experiences I've experienced, but it is what it is. I don't regret any choices that I made. It made me better in certain things. But I think like we definitely are a spirit, and we definitely pick what experiences we want to live on this life. So I don't believe, like, I just think there's a beginning date and an end date. I think in between there's lessons that we choose to learn, but we base it off of our free will choices. I got
a question. This is going to change the topic a little bit.
It's okay. We like doing that.
So there's me and you sitting here. How do you feel about, what is your opinion on women raising men? Like, do you think they can? Do you think...
So we talked about this a couple weeks ago, and I said, shame on a lot of women who don't raise a lot of women, single moms, and they're not just single moms. Some are married, or some are with their partner, whatever. They use their sons mainly as their emotional husbands because they're lacking it or they don't have it or there's something missing, and they make their sons weak yet make their daughters strong. And that was one thing. If you recall, every time you tell me you want to retire me, you want to take care of me, you're going to do this, and what do I say to you? The only thing I want for you is to be happy and to live your life. It's not your job to take care of me. Because I never wanted, because he's the boy in our house, I never wanted him to feel like he was responsible for me, his sister, my mother, nobody. Because he, like, I chose my situation. He didn't. Therefore, I never wanted him to feel that way. He makes me emotional. I don't know why. This is the only person that makes me emotional. But I think a lot of mothers make their sons weak and they don't make them men, and they have to make them men. And that's a lot of what is happening today. Like the lack of men, or the lack of because there's so many women raising men. And I also don't believe that, like, there's like the statistic that's saying most of the men that single moms raise are in jail. Like, maybe, like, but I don't feel it's a single mom thing. I think it's a thing where moms fail their sons because it's like they feel bad for them, maybe because there's not a male figure. Either they use them as their emotional husband, like he's the man in the house, so like they have some emotional connection to him. Like I said, he's my weakness. Clearly you could see that because he makes me cry. But I never wanted him, and to this day, I never want him to feel responsible for me. Like, it's his job to take care of me. So I think if you're a single mom or you're a mom raising a boy, it is your job to make him a man. If there is no man there, it is your job to make him a man. And regardless if you agree with that or not, it's your job to make him a man. It's not like...
So I'm in the middle about it. It's weird. Because I feel like, and I don't want to sound like messed up, but I feel like there's a certain amount that a woman can teach a man. You get me?
Yeah, I agree. Because I'm not a man. Therefore,
so like I learned like I've learned a lot from you and on how to be a man, especially like to a woman, like stuff you should do, stuff you shouldn't do. But I feel like there was a lot that I had to
learn on your own because I couldn't teach him. Yeah.
Or like it would just be like I wouldn't even be comfortable coming to you about certain things or like certain questions. Like, so I feel like it's a balance. Like, I feel like the mom can raise a man, but it's also the man's job to make himself a man at that point.
Yeah, because, unfortunately, there's a lot of homes that don't have both parents. There are a lot of men who aren't active parents in their sons' lives. There's a whole many situations which we're not even getting into. But I could only teach him how to be a man from a female point of view, because I'm not a man. I don't know what it's like to be a man in this world. I don't know what it is to feel like a man. I can't. I'm a woman. So I can only teach him how to be a man from my perspective of what a man should be. But I think where a lot of women fail is they don't push them to be men. They push them to be their men. And that is not their job.
Do you agree? Hold on. We'll pull up a video real quick.
Hi, princess. You agree, girl? You agree?
Yes.
Say. I definitely agree when they said men who grew up watching their mothers struggle and have to work and pay bills and take care of the kids with no help, they definitely feel like the women that they get with should have to, fend for themselves and go through that. Because that's what they grew up watching mommy do. That's because your mother didn't have a real man.
Do you agree with that?
No. I don't. I mean, I don't feel that you feel a woman needs to struggle and do all of that.
Because I was talking to a woman about that, and they said that they agree with that. But when I was saying, like, my point, like, but, like, the way I am, I would never.
Right. I think if anything, that show that you.
But they said that I'm just, like different than most people. Yeah.
Like, I don't, like.
But I don't know because I don't really, like. know any other situations like that
Because
to see how they act.
yeah, I don't feel that. I mean, but I think that's also part of, yes, they might have watched their women struggle, like their mothers struggle and everything. But I think that also puts where that mother was not forcing that boy to be a man. And there are situations that I have looked at recently where, the father isn't there, the father passed away, whatever, but that kid is not being forced to be a man. Like the house is falling apart, mess all over the place. That kid's not being forced to be a man. So you should, me as a mother, if I'm a single mother, like you need to help. Like you need to be the man, not my man, the man in this house where you're going to contribute, because that's what forces them as well to be a man. Because then there's situations where there is a father, but the kids are still the kids are still lazy and not pushing themselves or this and that. So like, what's that? That's the flip side of that. I think as a man or as a boy, you watch your mother struggle. I think that should push you to want to do the complete opposite, not depend on a woman to help you and push you and struggle and raise you. I don't know.
I think a lot of it falls on yourself too, though.
It
Because
falls
you
on
could get taught
yeah.
things a million times. It's up to you on what you
Yeah,
want
I agree with that too.
take,
It's the same thing like with your sister. Your sister could have been young, had a kid young, been a single mom, like all of that. She could have walked in, had a kid young like me. Like she could have walked in all of that, but she doesn't want that for herself. She doesn't want that for herself. Regardless of whatever situations have occurred, she doesn't want that for herself. So it's like at the end of the day, we have to hold ourselves accountable for our choices that we make. But I think sometimes where the parents fail, and mothers or fathers, they're not pushing their kids to be responsible, be better versions, push them. Like it's like everyone's being coddled. And I think single moms tend to coddle their sons a little bit more than when there's a father present. Like I didn't, because I was busy working and there was really no time for me to coddle. But I also felt that if I coddled you, I was going to hinder you from being the man that you're supposed to be, when there was already a lack of a man in the house to push you and be what you needed to be. So I felt like I would have done you an injustice as a boy turning into a man if I coddled you or I made everything okay, like you didn't have to do certain things. So I think that's where my push came from. In the same way how I pushed your sister to never have to depend on anybody, because I never would want her in a position where she would have to depend on somebody, and then what? So I had to raise you guys from both ends of the spectrum, like her as a female where she's independent. That doesn't mean she don't need a man, just to make sure she's independent enough that she can hold her own. God forbid something does happen. And you on the flip side, I needed to make sure you weren't being coddled and you weren't being like not pushed to be a man, because that wasn't benefiting you or her, either one of you. So I think that's where my push came from. But I don't think a lot of people have that perspective either, because they feel bad for their kids. They feel bad that their parents not there. They feel bad that they're not together. And guilt's a bitch when you're a parent. Like I'm going to tell you, most of us parents feel guilty as hell for everything that happens to you kids. Whether we show that or not, most moms have an immense amount of guilt for their kids because they didn't give them the best life. So I think out of guilt, we sometimes shelter our kids, we coddle our kids, we don't push our kids. But that's a double-edged sword. It's not beneficial for them kids. So, I mean, that whole, can a woman raise a man? Yes, to an extent. Like, unfortunately, we can only raise you to an extent because we don't know what it's like to be. Same way, if a single father's raising a little girl, like, you're going to raise her to what you think a woman should be, but you're not going to be able to raise her the way a woman would raise her. So it's the same flip side. You're going to raise her how you would want her to be treated or how you think women should act and all of that. But it's just we see less of that because we see more single moms versus more single dads. But I think it's both like a double-edged sword on both spectrums.
I got one more question.
Go ahead.
In conclusion, what do you think? What can you tell the people to like wrap it up? What should they learn or what should they take from everything we've talked about?
We were in a lot of subjects, but
for me, my message, be you. You gotta be true to who you are.
The problem is I don't think a lot of people know who they are.
Well, that's something you gotta find. You gotta spend that time alone. You gotta spend, get off your phone, stop comparing yourself on social media, and just take time alone to learn what makes you happy, what you like, what's funny to you, what's sad. You get me? Like, learn that, and then stay true to that. Like, no matter what's going on around, no matter who you're around.
Yeah, I think a lot of us don't even know who we are, what makes us happy, what doesn't make us happy, what is our deal breakers. I don't think a lot of us ever study ourselves enough. We're too busy studying other people to make sure they're making us happy. And we forget that we're the only ones that can make us happy. And I have fallen victim to that a billion times. I'm looking at what you're going to do for me to make me happy, but what am I doing to make myself happy? And I have to do sometimes these brain checks, these mental checks, like, what are you doing to make yourself happy? You can't put your happiness into this work, this person, this. It doesn't work that way because you're giving all your power away. So I think in conclusion to all the various topics that we talked about, dynamics, family dynamics, relationship dynamics, spiritual dynamics, all the dynamics that we touched upon, they all create you as a person. They all influence who you are as a person. But at the end of the day, regardless of spirituality, regardless of your family dynamics, regardless of your friends, regardless of all the dynamics that come together to make you who you are, you have to figure out who you are. At the end of the day, you have to know who you are. Like who you are, what you require from yourself, what you want from yourself, and what is going to make you the better version of you. And I think all the influences and all the dynamics that we spoke about, all the dynamics and the relationships that we spoke about, our relationship with God, our relationship with our parents, our relationship with our siblings, our relationship with anyone, they all are important factors in who you are, but they're not who you are. They don't determine who you are. You can only determine who you are. And I think that's where we should focus on as a whole. Social media isn't who you are. Your friends aren't who you are. They're factors of what makes you you. But at the end of the day, that's not what makes you you. And I think we need to start going internally as an individual to figure out who we are.
No, it's a pretty good episode.
Okay.
I'm Tyra. This is Connie.
Thanks for showing up for episode 13. Make sure you comment. Make sure you subscribe, and make sure that you give us a like. Bye.